Welcome to today's episode. We're diving into a bizarre tale of trust and kidnapping. He questioned the other's trust, but the short-haired man looked puzzled, as if his trust was in pets over humans. So he wanted to confess being the kidnapper, but was ambushed by the bald guy before he could speak. Bad timing. How can you even pull this off? You were totally supposed to handle this. Luckily, the bald man was just venting, shouting at the sky, not planning to harm the protagonist. At that moment, the unconscious guy suddenly blurted out, "I think I see someone outside." So this group rushed to the window like treasure hunters, shouting for help, but their voices were as faint as mosquitoes. Just when they thought all hope was lost, the bald guy reflected sunlight off a mirror, catching the driver's son's attention. Seriously, masterful skills. They finally saw hope, but the driver, terrified, sped off like he saw a ghost. The short-haired guy spotted a chair and some cut rope and suddenly thought the kidnapper's skills were questionable at best. Just as he was about to escape, he ran into the kidnapper, scuffling like a wrestling match. During the brawl, they accidentally knocked over a gas pipe, leading everyone to lose their memory. What a perfect plot twist. At this very moment, the handcuffed man fully realized that he was indeed the protagonist's former friend. It was truly as if fate had played a not so small trick on him. Talk about getting the short end of fate's deal. Seeing the other regain his memory, the bald guy was like a bee on a hot plate, hurriedly asking the handcuffed guy if he knew their identities. Unfortunately, the handcuffed guy was already out of breath, like a character from a dark comedy with a short life. At that moment, the police rediscovered the lost signal and immediately fell asleep. Talk about burnout. Can you believe they are napping here? Come on, keep up with the plot. They arrived at a bar but found the kidnappers had already tossed the tracker like a bad habit. But while flipping through some photos, they accidentally discovered the kidnapper's license plate, like finding a lifeline out of nowhere. The clue was quickly forwarded to HQ, but they still had no idea where the hostages were, making the bosses feel like they were about to explode. The surviving folks weren't going to sit around waiting. They set up traps, ready for a shark and turtle showdown. Suddenly, a car rolled up outside her, presumably the big boss of the kidnappers, and tension filled the air. A memory flashed in the bald guy's mind about the kidnapper boss. Talk about timing. He suddenly recalled a memory of the boss instructing him to dig pits like a twisted hint of something to come. Luckily, the unconscious guy warned just in time, allowing the protagonist to dodge a bullet while the bald guy became just a mere bystander. The remaining folks immediately exchanged fire with the kidnappers, like something straight out of a street brawl. Just when they thought victory was within reach, the kidnapper boss strolled in with Koss, and the atmosphere turned as cold as lukewarm coffee. Faced with the boss inquiries, the protagonist recounted the events like he was giving a confession. Strangely enough, the boss didn't put the blame on him. Maybe he still wanted to make use of the protagonist. Just as the boss turned to leave, the protagonist's memories burst forth, making him realize he truly was a kidnapper. Turns out, 2 days ago, he and his cohorts kidnapped Koss and McKen, and now those two had jogged everyone's memory, sparking in the chaos. The bald guy got accidentally tied up, and the handcuffed guy got knocked down. Seemed like a messy cleanup contest. Who would have thought McKenna accidentally shot the handcuffed guy while they were fighting over the gun? What a blunder. So they all passed out, losing their memories. They could easily earn a failing grade in theatrics. After confirming their identities, the protagonist felt a whirlwind of emotions, like a puppet being played. He really didn't want to betray Koss' trust, especially when they were just battlefield buddies. However, the boss' ruthlessness made him feel like he was facing a much stronger foe. Talk about being outmatched. The protagonist obviously underestimated the boss' cruelty, expecting him to take action against his friends. Talk about a twisted request. Staring at the lighter, memories of his lost happiness hit him like an emotional train. He believed there must be something he didn't know about the events that led up to it, like a fog of mystery ahead. When the boss ordered him to deal with the bodies, Kos was still chatting with the protagonist about an escape plan, looking blissfully naive. Finally, unable to tolerate this anymore, the protagonist dramatically pulled out a gun to point at them as a surprise twist. A few gunshots later, the protagonist's decision instantaneously wrote the ending for Kos and McKenna highlight worthy of an action flick. Meanwhile, the police received a tip-off about the kidnappers' exact location, like finding an Easter egg ahead of time. The boss urgently needed action, but little did they know the kidnappers' spies were eavesdropping, exposing everyone's plans. The boss suspected the protagonist of being an undercover cop talk about a misfire, causing a whirlpool of paranoia. After his wife and daughter left him, the protagonist had gone undercover in the kidnappers' Crusoe. The plot twist quarter just keeps. These kidnappers were truly despicable drug dealers. If he gathered enough evidence to beg them all, had be in line for a Nobel Prize. However, the kidnappers realized the pits were completely empty. What an absolutely colossal joke. Now it's just the protagonist and kidnapper boss in a legendary duel. Like this story. Don't forget to subscribe. There's more excitement waiting for you.